Hey, thanks for checking in. David Keem, Director of the Midwest Academy. We thought we'd take a moment out of our training schedule today and give you guys a tip on how to make your upper body mechanics a little bit more consistent and a little bit more efficient. Consistency has to do with being able to do the same things in the same order so that they're repeatable and reliable. Efficiency has to do with getting rid of any kind of extraneous wasted movement so that you conserve your energy, that you're able to apply power and flow together. That doesn't really matter if we're talking about empty hand combatives, weapon combatives, if the weapon is impact weapon, edge weapon, ballistic weapon, pistol, rifle. All these rules kind of hold the same because what we're talking about is we're talking about dealing with the human body, and there's a best way to make it work for you. At the end of this video, what we'll do is we'll show you a little bit of a flow drill, and you can see if any of this makes sense to you or not. Because of the format of these videos, where we're going to have a couple minutes to put some information out and make it somewhat entertaining in the process, we won't get to really dig down into the depths of what we're talking about today, and explore everything about biomechanics. We're going to limit our discussion to the elbow and its relationship to the guard posture. Just remember that there's a lot more to it than just what we're presenting here, but this gives you kind of the nuts and bolts and gives you kind of a general framework of our theory in terms of biomechanics. When most people get into a study of physical movement, they tend to see the end of the movement and wherever they perceive that beginning of that movement starting. So for example, in martial arts, a beginning level student might see the end of the punch, and they might see the beginning of the punch as the point where the person throwing that strike says, oh, I'm going to throw such and such strike. That's really not the origin of where these strikes begin in terms of where they start in their biomechanics. Strikes are either on or off target from the way you are set up, right? In other words, I don't get to necessarily pick what strike I'm going to throw. I have a most efficient strike that I can throw, or a most efficient control I can do, or a most efficient defensive maneuver I can engage in from a given position. That might be a little bit confusing if you don't have a lot of experience, but I think if you have some experience, you'll agree with what I'm saying. So one of the most common mistakes we tend to see in beginning level students is the idea that their guard comes up such that their elbow is pretty extended. So you might see guard postures that look something like this. This distance of the elbow to the core is really creates a lot of problems for them. What we like to say is we like to define strikes as having some sort of almost imagine a laser designator that comes right through the center of two knuckles right here. Okay, and this strike can't leave my core until the designator's on the target. So what does that mean? In this posture, that means that the lasers are pointing up at the ceiling here, right? And for me to throw a strike, I have to first bring my elbow down to get the designator on target. So this elbow from here to here is what we would call an inefficiency. The other thing is, in rule-based fighting, which is where a lot of our students get their ideas about what is right and what is wrong and what good looks like, I have the luxury of having one known opponent, right? So if I have one known opponent and I know where that person is, bringing my guard up and blocking my vision is really not that big a deal, because I know nobody else is going to attack me because it's against the rules. I know I'm not going to trip over something. I'm not going to turn the corner into something because the mat surface is smooth and level. So obstructing your vision in the real world is really not something that's ideal. And so setting that up as your base guard posture creates that inefficiency for striking, creates that inefficiency for grappling movements, because again, when my guard is real high like that, I have to again either use a tricep motion to establish a control, or I have to bring that arm down back to my core to let my core drive that movement. So hopefully that's making a little bit of sense to you. We'll demonstrate some stuff on the heavy bag for you, and we'll think that'll clear it up a little bit. So where does your elbow go in a guard posture? Well, we use a general frame of reference. We tend to say the elbow should be basically about 1 to 2 fists away from the core of your body, right? So if you take your fist, you put it between your elbow and your body, about one fist length to about 2 fist lengths. Sometimes we use another reference point. We say make a fist, use the knuckle on your index finger, touch that to your cheekbone. It's about the same measurement for most people. What this does is it allows you to drive with the core and keep your weapon on target, basically using a little bit of body language and a little bit of shoulder to drive that laser on target. before you let that weapon move. Unfortunately, the human body doesn't make very good adjustments once something leaves your core, right? Whether it doesn't matter if it's a control, doesn't matter if it's a strike. Once the limb basically starts moving, it's very hard to get my core back involved with it, unless it's core driven from its initiation. So for instance, if I'm set up on this heavy bag here, and I have my guard up, right, and I check my elbow's about a fist away from my body. This guard posture still allows me to protect my head and still allows me to see over the tops of my hands, right? So I can still have good awareness of everything that's going on around me. If I need to scan for additional threats, if I need to move, I can pick up any kind of obstacles, or I know where I'm moving to. Those are all pretty important things for the application environment. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not times where a threat might be coming in high, or I want to engage in some sort of defensive maneuver where I do bring my elbow out of this position. And you'll see that a little bit in the flow drill that we'll show you at the end. But what happens is, even if I bring my elbow up high for a split second, then what happens is usually the very next maneuver or the next rotation of my body allows that elbow to find its settling point back to somewhere between 1 and 2 fists away from the body. What you'll see here is when I'm demonstrating a couple strikes on the bag, whether they're straight strikes or they're hook strikes, you'll see the strikes are body driven. Won't be able to. It won't be a possibility if I'm trying to strike from up here. The strike will basically be limb driven at that point. Okay, so I'm here in my good posture, working on some hook punches. Now, if I want to throw some straight punches from here, same idea. What you'll notice is, again, I just drive it till I turn until the laser designator finds the target, and then from there, I'll strike move. Okay, or combinations of both. All right, I'm here. Okay, and you get the idea. Well, we hope you enjoyed watching this and maybe got a learning point or two, something to take away. If you have any questions about what we said, you want to talk about it, you want to compare theories, compare ideas, feel free to reach out to us. If you'd like to schedule an appointment to observe a class, see what we do, how we teach, you can give us a call and do that as well. Our number is area code 630-836-3600, or you can send us a message through our website. We're going to end today by showing you a few 15-20 seconds of a video that was shot with myself and my main teacher, Roland Raymer Sensei. He is the director of Colorado Academy of Martial Arts and also the system head of Seizan Ryu. A lot of stuff in this video, a lot of stuff in this flow drill, but probably the thing to pay attention to from what we talk about today is watch the placement of elbows and how far that elbow moves away from the core, and how quickly it returns back to the core, allowing the drill to flow.
See? He didn't know what I was going to do, right? See what he did? Just kept floating. I didn't know what I was going to do. Beautiful. That's what it should look like.